Good morning, everyone. Thanks for the hardy souls that are sticking around here this morning. We're in the final stretch here, so we'll try and keep it as moving as quickly and lively as possible. It'll be as simple and easy as going through the drive-through in McDonald's and grabbing lunch. So I wanted to just start off just a little bit about from a brand standpoint. And most of you know our brand, iconic golden arches. When we think about McDonald's, we think about Big Macs, we think about French fries, we think about breakfast all day, chicken McNuggets all night. We think about the brand, from a food standpoint. We think about the brand from 36,000 restaurant locations globally, 15,000 of those that are in the U.S. From an iconic brand standpoint, some of the things that you may not think about when you think about McDonald's is the way that we are starting to use technology in a way to really connect with our customers in a means that we have not done in the past. And so as I was thinking about Kim's discussion on Sunday night and this discussion around the multiple generations that are in the workplace now, when we think about the way that those generations have connected with brand McDonald's over the years, we looked back 5-6 years ago and recognized that the millennials and the Gen Z generation that was coming up, those demographics were not connecting with brand McDonald's, and so we needed to take a close look at how we were remaining relevant to all of those different demographics that were coming up. And so in doing that, we really made a move into focusing on how do we reach out to that demographic, how do we reach out to that customer and engage them in some of the same ways that brand McDonald's maybe has been engaged from a baby boomer or a Gen X standpoint. And so when we think about technology and how we're using that at McDonald's, we're doing things like AI. We acquired a couple of startup companies earlier this year where we're incorporating AI in our drive-thrus. So suggestively selling, if it's a cold day, maybe the screen shows a hot latte. If it's a hot day, a cold McFlurry. So being able to use technology to anticipate and to drive sales. And we've put almost 500 restaurants in place. We're starting to see between a 5 and 10% lift in some of the customer checks coming out of those restaurants. So we're seeing how technology can really foster in the day-to-day lives of our customers and engaging better. When we think about technology, McDelivery has been a huge initiative for us, something that didn't exist 24 months ago. McDelivery, when we think about the capabilities there, 75% of the U.S. population lives within 3 miles of a McDonald's restaurant. So when you think about the ability to unlock that type of data and offer our products on a more convenient basis and in a way that our customers want to engage with the brand, we've grown that business into a $4 billion business in a matter of about 24 months, just on the delivery side from a McDonald's standpoint. So obviously technology is driving a lot of our business as we go forward. And so when we looked at our corporate headquarters relocation, we wanted to ensure that we were using technology to really drive a culture of innovation, a culture of technology, and a focus on that as we see that as a future enabler for engaging with our customers going forward. So just a few slides here to show you our new headquarters. We're relocated in 2018 from the west suburbs in Oak Brook of Chicago, the west suburbs into downtown, into the West Loop area. We have 500,000 square feet in about 2,500 employees. We have moved into 50,000 square feet of kitchen space, 40,000 square foot conference center. So all of those initiatives coming together from a workplace strategy standpoint, looking at a 95% unassigned workspace. So we have about a little over 300,000 square feet in that 500,000 that is open plan. Again, 95% of that is open unassigned. And so being able to pair that workplace strategy with the technology that we've put into the space has really given our employees a chance to be mobile from the standpoint of not only remote work, working outside of the office, but full mobility into the multitude of spaces that you see in the headquarters space now. And one of the things that we get the most positive feedbacks around from our employees is this notion of I can work anywhere in the office. I have the tools that are mobile, my laptop and my cell phone. I can take those with me and I can be productive in any area of the building. So when we thought about how smart building and how technology can help to engage and drive a culture of innovation forward, we really had to take a step back, and as we looked at smart building, make sure that we had a complete strategy in place and understand the decisions that we were making around the headquarters project, that it was very thought out and very intentional in what we wanted to try and accomplish. And so you see some of the drivers here. For us, employee experience was at the top of the list. And so when we think about how we incorporate technology into our employees' experience in the headquarters, it was really about fostering this notion that you don't have to check your technology at the door. So your personal technology you use in your day-to-day life, you should have the same types and numbers of conveniences when you come into the office. So employee experience was a huge component of that. Technology driving the culture change and getting our employees thinking in terms of what is that next innovation that is right for the restaurants, can better help us to connect with our customers. Real estate optimization was a big component, looking at the ability to reduce significantly our square footage. We dropped 50% when we moved from the suburbs to downtown, and a lot of that was through the workplace strategy that we put in place and the continual efforts around looking at how we're utilizing the space, and we'll touch on that in a little bit. And then finally, energy efficiency. Energy efficiency is kind of one of those traditional notions of smart building, and we didn't want to lose that aspect. For us, sustainability is a huge component of what we do as a company, so we wanted to make sure that was built into the smart building strategy as well. So then looking at some of the systems that we were able to integrate into the building, and obviously having the advantage of starting with a clean sheet of paper and being able to look at how can we influence the design, working with the developer to really drive some of the things that we were trying to accomplish to enhance that employee experience. And so HVAC, security, lighting, you see all of these systems that we looked at from a smart building standpoint to be able to integrate and enhance that experience. A couple that I would mention that were primary for us, and that's indoor positioning and location-based services. And as you'll see in some of the technology development that we put in place, that's really the foundational component of what drives a lot of the convenience for our employees in the employee experience. So you think about the day-to-day lives and moving from the overall broader strategy of smart building to really what does this mean for the day-to-day employee on a regular basis. And so everything from a workplace app that if I'm an employee coming in on the train from the suburbs and I need to schedule a meeting, I can pull out my smartphone and I can do that. Once I get into the office, I can navigate and the wayfinding component to be able to find one of 300 enclosed spaces that are part of the headquarters project. I can walk into a room that's open, and my mobile device will recognize that room is available, and it will prompt me if I would like to reserve that room. And then down to comfort levels around temperature. So once I'm in that room and I'm meeting and the collective group is too warm, I can easily go onto that workplace app and cool the space down. So this whole range of possibilities that really all contribute to the employee experience that we were really trying to curate. I mentioned the workplace app, so just a few shots of what we were able to customize and put in place. We worked very closely with JLL as a business partner of ours and did the development working with a company called Coney. Really the strong notion here is the idea of integration and making kind of a one-stop shop that employees are able to go to, and whether it's reserving a room, adjusting temperature, work orders, using their smartphone, take a picture of an issue and send it to the facilities team, transportation information, all of this kind of encapsulated into a single mobile app that makes it as convenient as possible for them to be able to navigate the new building. So moving from the workplace app and the notion of real estate optimization. And so going back to this idea of unassigned workspace, so activities-based work, we're divided by functional neighborhoods within the new headquarters. And so when we think in terms of how do we ensure that the design principles that we put in place are really being flushed out, and we're seeing that come to life, some of the data that we're able to collect based on utilization information, and this is both badge data as well as we're looking at finishing up a pilot right now using Wi-Fi, using ceiling-based sensors. And so collectively, all of this data is coming together and helping us to proof out this notion that at an 80% planning module, from 80% of seats to headcount, we're seeing on average, throw out Friday. For everyone, generally Friday is an outlier. But on a Monday to Thursday basis, we're seeing a 73% utilization rate in the office. And so we look at that and we compare that to what we saw in the former headquarters in Oak Brook. And we're seeing a 10 to 15% increase in that daily utilization. So we think about that. We've made it, in some cases, a little more challenging to get to the office from a commute standpoint for our employees who live in the suburbs. We've made the notion of workplace strategy and the change occurring with that. But yet we're still seeing that an additional 10 to 15% of our employees are finding that the workplace is the best place for them to be able to be most productive. We can take that down to the granular level from a department standpoint, so we can look at who is trending from an occupancy standpoint and utilization on the higher end, on the lower end. And then this becomes a valuable tool as we also tie it into floor plans. And we look at where are our opportunities. And so as we have groups that are coming back to us and say I'm growing and I may be running out of space, it's easy to go back to the data and say, here, let's take a look at how you're utilizing the space today. And this gives us a snapshot of where we may have opportunity to grow in the building. From a business intelligence standpoint, so the data that we're collecting beyond just occupancy data is a very rich set of data. In fact, when we moved into the headquarters, we put some new corporate real estate roles in place around building system automation and systems administrators. So we have a systems administrator that makes sure that all of our smart building components are up and functioning and are giving us the data that we need. We also put an analyst, a BI analyst, into the corporate real estate team. So someone that is able to take a look at the data and put it into a format that is usable and will help us to make decisions as we go forward. So what does that look like? And just a couple of examples of some of the reports and dashboarding that we're starting to put together. And this has really been an ongoing effort for us in the year and a half that we've moved in, really to take a look at and fine-tune, what are the critical components, what are the critical pieces of data that we need to drive efficiency and operation. So we look at things like conference room no-shows and the ability to pull that data in to understand how many employees are not showing for conference rooms and not using that space, and which employees are that. And so in some cases having to go back and have that difficult discussion that, did you know, kind of discussion around, these are the number of no-shows that are being generated from your meeting invites. But the data is what's allowing us to be able to do that. Temperature requests, seeing drops in landlord requests for hot and cold calls based on the ability from the Workplace app to be able to adjust temperature. Energy in the kitchen, just a number of different data points. But really, when we think about data, it's not the data that is most important for us. It's really what are the insights that we're able to drive from that data. And so that's been a process that we've been working through, again, over the last year or so. And as we start to establish on a quarterly basis, taking a look at, so what are we learning from all of this data? And so you see a slide deck here with a number of different learnings and insights that we talk about. Again, going back to the conference room no-shows, that 25% or 25 people are driving 12% of the no-show activity. So that allows us to really customize our message, and rather than send out a broadcast email that you need to cancel your meeting room if you're not going to show up, we can really zoom in on who are the opportunities and where do they exist as far as improving the efficiency of that use. So it's about the insights, certainly, as much as it is the data itself. And finally, I want to end with the employee experience piece. So going back to what was at the top of our list as far as a smart building strategy, it was really about enhancing the employee experience. And so I want to finish with a short video here, and best to hear directly from our employees as it relates to what is the experience, what is the new headquarters meant to them.
We have guest experience leads. They're here to welcome everybody coming into the office, bringing that friendly, kind atmosphere.
My favorite part of the new campus is being downtown.
Coming downtown, it's going to be new, it's going to be exciting.
Sustainability is one of the main key components of the entire building. This is Hamburger U.
I think it's going to be a game changer in how we train people.
Beautiful, like it's super modern. My expectations were high, but yeah, this has definitely sort of exceeded those.
So this staircase connects floors 4 to 8, but it's meant to be the heartbeat of the building.
Welcome to the Work Cafe. This really is meant to be the ultimate collaboration space.
I love the outdoor space because you get the nice view of the city, and that's not something that we had in the past.
It's everything, right? It's the energy, it's the open space, it's a new beginning.
My favorite thing about the new office complex is choices. I have so many choices of the way I want to work, the way I want to socialize, the way I want to collaborate.
I was really surprised by the number of shared spaces, like sort of collaborative working environments. The ambiance, it was just really, really well done.
We have something for everyone here. Cardio equipment, we can do battle ropes, medicine balls, Zumba, yoga, meditation.
Ninth floor is awesome.
My favorite part of the new office complex is exactly where we're standing. This outside space here. I mean, this is amazing. We've got this great view. You know, you've got this nice collaborative space. It opens itself up to events like this.
I've been here 37 years. It's amazing where we were, where we're going to go to the future.
Thank you very much.